Yes, salut tout le monde les gens.
C'est rapide aujourd'hui.
Alors
Aujourd'hui, Pascal, on va parler d'une émission qui est incroyable. Elle s'appelle Paternité courte, c'est une émission américaine. Non, me dis pas tu connais.
Je vais te dire ce que j'en pense et tu vas dire si c'est ça. Est-ce qu'ils vont pas dévoiler des secrets? T'as une famille qui est là?
Non, c'est pas une famille, c'est plus un couple qu'une
D'accord,
famille.
ok.
Et en fait, la mère fait passer un test de paternité au père.
Wow.
C'est un couple qui a une fille, et pour savoir si leur enfant c'est le leur,
bah elle
le sait.
Elle le sait.
Mais c'est pour découvrir qui est le père.
Ça veut dire que la nana peut tromper son mari et elle doute de l'enfant.
Ça, c'est une émission américaine, c'est des gros problèmes. Avant de mettre play, mon Pascal,
Les pouces et les orteils, le corps entier.
voilà, on y va les amis.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Miller versus Rasmussen.
Thank you, Jerome.
Et
Good day,
une petite mise en scène,
everyone.
ouais.
Ms. Miller, you're here to prove to your ex-boyfriend, Scotty Rasmussen, that he is not the father.
Ah, pour prouver qu'il n'est pas le père.
Ouais.
L'émission, j'ai déjà vu.
C'est vrai?
C'est incroyable. Mais pas celui-là.
Ah, ça va.
Non,
Ouf.
pas cet épisode-là.
Ah, super.
J'ai vu des trucs où le mec, il est soit détruit, soit le mec, il est comme ça, il regarde ça, il fait. Donc c'est bien moi. Et t'as des mecs qui sont soulagés. Parce qu'ils se disent, c'est pas mon gamin. Donc c'est quoi, t'as rien.
You claim you've been in an ongoing court battle over custody
ouais,
and have
c'est un
petitioned
vrai
the court
truc,
several
tu vois.
times for a DNA test, all of which have been denied.
Yes,
Pourquoi
Your
ils
Honor.
refusent les tests
Mr. Rasmussen, you claim the real reason Ms. Miller is denying your Zaylee's father is because she hates you.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say you've been there for your daughter her entire life, and you're here today to prove you are Zaylee's father. All right, Mr. Rasmussen, why is Ms. Miller saying you're not Zaylee's father?
Your Honor, I believe it's just out of pure hatred. She just doesn't want me to have visitation. I drive 160 miles.
C'est impossible que ce soit fake cette émission.
C'est pas, hein.
Franchement.
Tu sais, ça me rappelle l'émission.
C'est pour ça que
Ça va savoir.
C'est exactement pour ça que je te parlais de ça.
Peut-être, hein.
That's about 10,000 miles. That's wear and tear on my car. She doesn't have a driver's license. She doesn't have any
Du coup,
way
c'est
to
lui
bring
qui
her
sera
to me.
toute
She
la
doesn't
route, quoi.
have any way to meet me halfway.
You say she hates you.
She
Why does she hate you?
She hates me because at the end of the relationship, when things got rocky, I'll admit it, I did go to another woman. I'll be the first to admit that. You know, it was my mistake.
Mais après, c'était la
Is
fin de la
that
relation, il peut aller voir une autre femme, quoi.
No, I do not hate him because of that. I lost my respect for him, yes.
He says this is about visitation, too. He loves his daughter, but you don't want him to have the visitation. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor. Because I believe that the only reason why he wants the visitation is to claim her on his taxes.
That is the furthest thing from the truth. I want my visitation because my daughter means the world to me. I want to be in her life as much as I possibly can.
I mean, if he's driving 160 miles each way every other weekend, the money he would get in his taxes, he's spending in gas.
I'm paying my child support. I have my child support payments right here, plus an additional $3 fee, plus an additional $60 annual fee.
You pay $50 a week. You don't believe he's her biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
So explain to me why.
When she was conceived in March of 2011. He wasn't even in the same state. He was in Vegas. And at that time in March, I wasn't even with him. I was with somebody else because
Elle a dit qu'elle était avec quelqu'un d'autre. Donc en fait, elle a dit oui, il m'a trompé de machin, mais elle aussi.
Eh ben ouais.
Ms. Miller, you were stating to the court that you were intimate with someone else and you believe that you were intimate with that other person during the time Zaylee was conceived.
Excuse-moi, mais ça m'étonnerait pas que ça soit pas son père. Hein. Elle est blonde aux yeux bleus, il y a 2 bruns.
Mr. Rasmussen, fill me in. At what point were you ever told that you were not her biological father?
I believed I was, and still believe, I was the only biological father until about 5 or 6 months or so, give or take, after she was born.
So, Mr. Rasmussen, up until Zaylee was 5 or 6 months old, you believed you were the only possible biological father.
That is correct. We never broke up.
C'est horrible de le faire avec la petite au milieu, la reine demandée.
Non, mais la petite, elle est pas là. Elle est dans une pièce à
tu
part,
vois.
ouais, elle est avec d'autres personnes.
The relationship was on and off in a sense, but we never.
But by that time she was born, so she already had your name.
She already had my name.
Did you sign the birth certificate?
That is correct. I was at the birth. I was at every single doctor's appointment. When Zaylee was born, you were at a doctor's appointment. I was at home because I had to work that day. I was at my job as a cashier. I got a phone call and I answered it. They said she was going into labor. I said, okay. I hung up the phone. I quickly finished up as fast as I could with that particular customer. I turned off my checkout light, told the next customer in line that something came up. I either had to go to another line. I went up to my manager, my immediate supervisor, said, hey, I got to go. My girlfriend's in labor. I went home, quickly changed my clothes, and I drove about 45 miles through a winding wooded road in Wisconsin in December, mind you, so it was about a foot of snow on the ground. I made it to that hospital in less than 35 minutes. I beat her to the hospital, and I was there from the moment she got there to the moment she was discharged. I called my boss at work and said, hey, I got to take some days off. I don't care if you fire me or whatever, but I got to stay here. My daughter's being born.
That's a lie. After she was born,
You say that was a lie?
yes, it is.
How do you remember it?
After she was born, he was gone. He ran out of the room. I didn't see him for 20 minutes after that.
C'est une parole contre l'autre. Hein.
What was the problem exactly? You let him sign the birth certificate.
Because we were engaged. And I thought we were going to get married. I thought we were going to have a happy life and raise our daughter together until about 3 months after she was born, one of his friends told me everything that he was doing throughout our entire relationship, cheating on me, going to multiple places to meet multiple girls.
Where's this other possible father?
I'm not even quite sure. After we broke up, he changed his number, he moved, he pretty much disappeared. I have tried to find him, I have tried to get a hold of him, and I can't find him.
But you keep saying, Mr. Rasmussen cheated, he did this, he did that. And as wrong as that may be, you also slept with somebody else.
We weren't even dating then. I was single at that time.
But you know deep down there's another possible father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why wait so long to tell him?
I told him the first time that we had a court date, but the courts threw it out.
Even
DNA
before
test.
you tell anybody in court. What about just telling him? I want to understand that. Why was it that you were keeping this information so close to your hip until 5-6 months after Zaylee was born?
The more
C'est
she
horrible
grew
si
up,
c'est pas lui
the
et
more
tu le fais
I
croire.
started noticing more of her features, the more she started looking like the other guy.
She looks exactly like I did when I was 3 years old. I have a picture of me when I was 3 and a picture of her from just the other day.
Let me see that. Will you hand that to me, Jerome?
Believe it or not, when I was 3 years old, I had blonde hair.
And so this is a picture of Zaylee on the left and you, as a child, Mr. Rasmussen, on the right.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And you say you see a distinct similarity.
Yes, I do.
Do you see it, Ms.
Faut voir
Miller?
le test. Hein.
You don't.
I don't.
You feel like Zaylee looks like the other gentleman you were
Yes.
intimate. So, Mr. Rasmussen, let me ask you, are you prepared? Have you prepared
La
yourself
possibilité,
either
ouais.
way? If this child is my biological child or if she isn't, have you thought about both alternatives?
In a sense, yes. If it goes the way I'm hoping and I know in my heart that it will, that she is mine, I'm just going to be overjoyed that all the drama and the fighting and all that kind of stuff is behind me. If it goes the other way, I don't think if I had all the time in the world, I could, you know, prepare myself for such a bombshell.
In the case of Miller versus Rasmussen, when it comes to 3-year-old Zaylee Rasmussen.
Tu penses que c'est le père ou pas?
Vu l'histoire, ils sont trompés tous les deux, elle l'accuse plus de
C'est
tromperie.
que des trompeurs.
La meuf, elle a trompé aussi,
Ouais.
les deux sont coupables dans l'histoire.
Mr. Rasmussen, you are not the father.
Elle a fait le deux jours, la meuf.
Miss Miller,
Be respectful.
Sorry.
Miss Miller,
I'm sorry.
Oh, la réaction.
that's a lot of nerve considering the alternative is somebody that don't want nothing to do with you or your child.
I'm sorry.
That's a lot of nerve.
Oh, la réaction qu'elle a eu, la meuf.
Mr. Rasmussen, I am so sorry.
She's my whole world. Everything I do is for her. She was the reason I went to work every day.
I know you have a bond with her.
I feel like my whole world is in ruins now.
Moi, ce qui m'emmerde, c'est que je peux pas réagir, parce qu'il faut lire.
Moi, en fait, là où je suis choqué, c'est la réaction de la mère, en fait.
Ah, ça oui. C'est hyper violent, parce que la meuf, elle a pas pensé une seule seconde à sa fille.
Et l'autre, à côté, ouais.
T'imagines le mec qui croit que c'est...
3 ans, depuis 3 ans.
Imagine-toi,
Je préfère pas.
t'as un enfant.
Oh là.
Et la meuf te dit 3 ans après, écoute, t'es pas le père. Tu dis ok, t'es sur paternité. Courrier, tu reçois chez toi, monsieur oui, monsieur non. En fait, ce qui est fou, c'est que le mec, il est persuadé que c'est lui, mais il s'est pas préparé à la défaite.
Déjà, moi, je trouve que s'il y a un doute, c'est pas bon signe. Je suis désolé, mais moi,
Oui,
je
je suis
pense
d'accord.
que s'il y a un doute, il n'y a pas de doute.
ceux que j'ai vus là, la nana disait ouais t'es pas le père machin, et en fait c'était le père. Et en fait c'est une histoire de guerre entre adultes quoi. Puis t'imagines la petite toi, où tu vas perturber. T'habitues avec pendant 3 ans, tu grandis. Alors je t'explique ma fille. En fait je suis pas ton père donc t'es pas ma fille. Donc à partir de maintenant on va plus jamais se revoir. Le choc. Regarde ce que ça fait derrière. Ça détruit tout. Hein.
Après, on appelle Pascal Big Brother.
Ah non non, un truc comme ça j'y vais pas.
Ah ouais, tu vois.
Oh, j'y vais pas, tu te démerdes. Tu trompes ton mec, t'es enceinte, tu doutes, dis à ton mec écoute, voilà, tu m'as trompé, je t'ai trompé. Je pense que c'est pas toi le père, même quand tu es enceinte, si tu as un doute. Et le test, tu le fais dès le départ.
Bah oui, voilà.
Donc tu fais le test tout de suite, tu fais tiens, allez hop, on y va. Bah écoute, c'est pas toi. Ok, je m'efface et salut. Bon voilà, bon, si ça vous a plu, tant mieux.
Tes pouces, les orteils.
Les pouces d'orteils, le corps entier, voilà, tout ce qu'il faut.
Faites pas de bêtises, les amis, en vrai de vrai. Mais il faut réfléchir, je sais pas.
Il faut réfléchir surtout, il faut réfléchir beaucoup.
Réfléchissez avant. Sur ces belles paroles.
Sur ces paroles dégueulasses.
Allez,
vous, ça voulait rien dire.
Voilà.
Allez, ciao les gens.